Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bear Beer Reviews. Still going through some of the Copenhagen haul. Again, if you follow me on Twitter or potentially on some of the Facebook beer drink craft beer groups, you'll have seen some of the haul that I got from the Mikkeller and Friends little shop. Obviously, being Mikkeller, they have fantastic ties with breweries all around the world. They have a brilliant selection of their own beers. Mikkeller beers are, as a general rule of thumb, pretty darn good to say the least. Watch the videos from Copenhagen, you'll see me do a few reviews of them, or ones I've done in the past as well. But you might have seen that I was unbelievably lucky because they have Three Floyds in. God knows how they managed to get it imported into Denmark, but Mikkeller managed to somehow. And this is one of the ones that we got there. This is their flagship beer. This is Alpha King. As you can see from the rather ugly looking guy, let's be frank. So this is their pale ale. This is American style pale ale. We've had Zombie Dust, which was the citrus single hopped one, and this fellow here has it's a blend of hops. I know it's got Warrior in it, just because I use Warrior for bittering, and it's one of my favourite hops for bittering, to say the least. I'm trying to look for the ABV on it again. I always seem to lose it on American beers. We can assume it's probably in the 5 to 6 range though, or something maybe a little bit higher than that, because, you know, in Americans. I don't know, I should put it in an annotation or something. But hey ho, let's crack it open, because as always with a pale ale, the sooner you get your hands on them, the better. I love the little lids that they've got as well. I'll get rid of that because that's the Incrona. Oh, it's not going to show up very well, but you can see the kind of funky little lids. I just had to half peel the label off at least. And we'll pour it right into a glass. Got my nice big techie glass from Brewdog here. See if I can't get a good amount of head on this as well. And this is, you know, it's mental, absolutely crazy. Ooh dear, almost. Just a little bit, just the tiniest little dribble spilt. It's crazy that I managed to get my hands on this. This is just, you can't get it outside of Indiana where they're from. And it's just nuts to be able to get my hands on it. I was so lucky to be there at the time that it was there. Oh man, it smells so good already, and I haven't even put my nose over it. First things first, it is a lot darker. It's almost like a red ale, which I'm not a huge fan of. I'm as a general rule of thumb, I don't tend to like red IPAs or red pale ales, or ruby ales, I guess you want to call them that. You can see it's pretty ruby coloured, to be honest. There is a ever so slightly creamy looking head on the top of it as well. A lot of carbonation. I'm not entirely sure whether this is bottle conditioned or not. It doesn't look like it. And it's relatively clear. It's a little bit murky, but hey ho. I can smell it already, but let's get a proper nose on it. Oh man. Oh, it's just so ridiculously juicy. It really is. It's like a tropical fruit pudding or something like that. It's super creamy on the nose. Oh man, it's like mangoes. It really is. Some of the best IPAs that I've tried recently. Weirdly enough, one that we did last night, which I haven't still got rid of the can yet, High Lie by Cigar City, has a very similar aroma. In fact, this semi-skunked aroma of this is remarkably similar to the fresh aroma of this. Oh, super creamy, tropical notes. There's just a little hint of pine on the back. It's quite floral as well, but it's this creamy mango and passion fruit and papayas and any kind of tropical fruit. Lychee, actually. Lychee is a good one, because lychee does have that kind of slightly creamy nose to it as well. All comes together in the conglomeration on this, and it's stupendously pungent. It's a real kick in the teeth. It's very, very aromatic, to say the least, and I am humongously excited, absolutely beyond myself, to actually be able to try Alpha King, because I never thought I'd get my hands on it. So, without further ado, cheers. Oh, yeah, it's lovely. It's really damn good. First things first, it's very well balanced. There is a nice, solid, Again, it's the ruby colour and the crystal malt in it. I'm assuming it's crystal. Comes through and you get like a caramelised sugar flavour, which in this one and not in many others is quite well balanced and isn't humongously prominent, but it's just there and it's just sweet enough to kind of counterbalance the hops. There is a nice little distinct bitterness at the back end of it, but it's a very smooth bitterness. It's never too harsh. It's just the right amount, and then there's like a cascade of the hop flavours. Again, perfectly well balanced. Nothing's out of proportion. Nothing is stupendously over the top. The perhaps, and a good example. So High Life smells pretty similar, but is much more malt dominant. Hop dominant. The hops just take centre stage. This is a little bit more balanced. There is that, pardon me, caramelised sugar sort of flavour, the crystal malt, and then there is just sweet, juicy tropical fruit notes in absolute manic abundance. Mango sorbet, something like that. The sweetness from that, mixing with this lovely tropical fruit flavours and lychees and passion fruit, and all together and being really well balanced. Let's start again. Really well balanced. Just in general, and there's a good mouthfeel to it as well. It doesn't at all taste watery. The flavour sits in the palate for ages. I'm still getting little hints of it through, and the bitterness is still just lingering in the back of the throat. It has a brilliant reputation, and it's easy to see why, because it couldn't be any better designed. It just is what it is. It is a pale ale, and it's perfectly married. They've just done a fantastic job of making sure that the beer is where they want it to be before they've mastered the recipe. So everything that's in it has a little shining light and leads through. It's blooming gorgeous. And the real knockout thing, above everything else, is the aroma on it. As with many American beers, they just have the aroma. Oh god, I'm losing my voice now. See, it's so good, I'm losing my voice. They have mastered aromatics on beers, which is a humongous, massive piece of why we enjoy beers. Perhaps in England on cask. Start again. Perhaps in England on cask, we don't tend to focus on it anywhere near as much. More so in keg, perhaps there's the aromas come through more, but in cask we can cask hop and things like that, but it takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of effort, they're a pain in the backside to clean, let me tell you that. Dry hopping cask, you just have to sit there and fill it up with a hosepipe for ages and pour out these horrible semi-rotten hops and rinse and repeat about 10 times before you can even think of cleaning the cask. But I think aromatics is it's just a big part of the experience of enjoying beers. Aroma plays a lot more of a function in terms of flavour than I think we give it credit for. Just the residual, I can't remember, there was a certain phrase for it, or something. Anyway, when you smell and you get an aroma, it also adds into the flavour and the taste you get in your mouth. So you might not realise you do it, but when you drink you have a smell as well. And the whole sensory overload from a good beer like this just puts a smile on your face before you've even really tasted it. The smell alone makes you a happy man. And it's just a brilliant example of a fantastic American pale ale. Another 9.5 out of 10. We've had a few of those recently, but I've just been lucky to find really good beers on my travels. Please tell me what you think if you've had the wonderful little Alpha McKing. He's got a weird little goatee going on there as well. I don't like him, he scares me a little bit if I'm honest, but it's good in my scrapbook. Three Floyds, yet another brilliant beer. I also have Behemoth, which is their barley wine to try, and I also have Warmly, which is a double IPA, and possibly owner of one of the most amazing names that a beer has ever had. We also have, from the same trip, an Amaha Brewhouse and Mikkeller collaboration on the Big Eek Weasel, so the Kopi Luwak coffee stout that I had a little while back now by Mikkeller. It's a collaboration one with Amaha, and they did like a blended two of their beers together, two Kopi Luwak beers into one. But this batch apparently is special. The one that I picked was special because they got it slightly wrong and they used twice as much coffee as they should have done. So it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out. And I have one more thing as well. Oh yeah, and I've also got Bogadal from Denmark, and they are a super boutique brewery. They have a farm. They use their own farm water, kind of in the style of perhaps Hill Farm instead of other farmhouse breweries. They grow their own malt. They can't, at the moment, I don't think, grow their own hops, or not enough for production purposes. But each of their bottles is labelled and batched, and it's pretty much a one-off. They'll do something once, and they won't really return to it for a long time, if at all. They just come across as really cool people, and what I can see on the website. They don't really care about abundance of production, about making humongous amounts of money. They care about quality, and they care about being bespoke. The beers aren't cheap, and we'll see if they're any good, but I like the concept. I've already bought into the concept and I like the idea. So there you go, that's something to look forward to. More Three Floyds, Bogadal, Mikkeler and Amager, and please check out the videos from Copenhagen and Malmö in Sweden. I had an amazing, just long weekend breakaway, and it was a good time. Oh, and it's also worth it just to see me do an awkward trying to explain styles of beers to a bunch of German and English students who probably just wanted to get tanked on some beers that I brought them, but were very, very good fun. And I hope they enjoyed them. Some of them, they tried two Omnipollo Imperial Stouts and were a bit put off, I think. But, you know, there's a pretty heavy-duty beers. So there you go from Bear Reviews. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, cheers.